So I was helping my son with his math homework last night, and he was doing like addition and subtraction, but big numbers, like into the hundreds, like 457 minus 134. And the section they're up to in math is teaching them that, but then also teaching them how to check it, right? So if you have, just simple example, if you have 7 minus 5 equals 2, you can then check that by doing 5 plus 2 equals 7, right? And you can do that with the bigger numbers, obviously. And as we were doing it and he was going through the work, you'd answer the question first and then he had to do the check, and he went through it. And we hit one question where the check didn't work. So he realized, okay, I have to go back to the original equation and see, because something must be off, right? So I have to check, and then he figured out where he was off and he fixed it, and then the check worked and he was all good. And it made me laugh and smile because as I was looking at that, and I said to him, I was like, see, this is why I love math so much. I'm like, it's such a beautiful thing to be able to have a check. Because no surprise, I talk to my son a lot about certainty. And I've made a video about this, that certainty, in his world, in effect, is a pinky promise. It means you're 100% sure, you pinky promise, no doubt, this thing is definitely true. And what we talk about a lot is that doesn't really exist, right? In real life, that's not really there. So in this scenario, when he was doing his math homework, I noted how, like, hey, this is one of those chances, dude. Like, this is one of those moments where you actually have 100% certainty. You did your question, you got your answer, and then you checked it. And if the check works, you're 100% sure it's right. And like, how amazing is that? Like, how good of a feeling is that? So the first thing he said was, he kind of laughed and said, like, it's weird how excited you are about that, which is true. But it really is true. Like, that is the beautiful thing about math, and it's why I equate everything to mathematical logic. And my son actually made the insightful statement to say, like, unfortunately, though, there's no check in life. Like, there's no way to really do that. You can't be certain, which is absolutely true. But what I said back to him is what I'll say here is totally true, right? And that's why you shouldn't be certain in life, because there is no exact check, and we never know for sure. So we have to entertain the idea that it could be something different. But that doesn't mean you don't strive to try and be as sure as you can, right? It doesn't mean you don't strive to question and doubt and say, hey, how can I check? How can I make sure? So the mathematical logic that I always talk about, in these videos, that's why I'm desperately striving to get to that check where I can have certainty. I know I'll never get there, but I want to get as close to it as I can. And when you follow this, this thread of mathematical, logical thinking, whatever the problem might be, right? If it's something relatively simple of, where should we go for dinner tonight? Obviously you could apply it there, but more importantly, if it's something big, what's my belief or my political views, or who should I vote for, or, should I change my job? Whatever it is, right? I'm having a fight with somebody in my family, who's right, who's wrong. If you apply that mathematical approach, that mathematical logic to it, and just follow the thread, it does not guarantee you certainty. It does not guarantee you'll get to the right answer or the best answer, but it helps so much more, right? To the extent you can use it to where you see something happening and you say, okay, if that's true, then this almost has to be true. Or if I did that or I didn't do that, it's hard for me to believe this could be true. If you allow the mathematics to come into it, it will help. It will help push you down that path and give you more clarity, which is the magic word we always talk about. It will give you more clarity to be able to see, I think that's what's happening there. Okay, so then I can go look here and go there. If you're not employing that mathematical logic, if you're kind of just allowing your own mind to piece together and make lots of assumptions and guess, and just, think, well, I'm pretty sure this is probably true, but you haven't really earned the right to say that, and you haven't really checked as best as you can. I don't want to say you're guessing all the time, because sometimes it's an educated guess, and you might be right? You could be right with a guess, but you could be so much more sure, right? You could have so much more clarity. And why guess if you don't have to? I get it takes a little bit more work, just like it did for my son on his math homework. But he got a question wrong. But because he took that extra time and did the check, well, now he got it right. It's the same principle. And if it's a huge decision in your life, if it's a huge thing, right? If you're having a huge fight with a family member over something, or you're trying to figure out, your beliefs around something, if you have a better chance of getting it right, whatever right is for you, whatever your objective is, why not take it? Why not follow that mathematical, logical approach to give you a better chance to get there?